The US President Donald Trump recently offered a bizarre peace plan for the Palestinians, which basically suggests that all the Palestinians in Gaza should be redisplaced into other Arab countries, and the territory should be given to the United States to develop. Let's talk about it a little more, especially the ramifications of it for the region and what could possibly be the response or should possibly be the response from the Muslim world. First of all, let's just be clear, this is not a new position. This is the position of the right-wing, ultra-nationalist Israeli people and politicians, people like Ben-Gvir and others who want to relocate Palestinians from the West Bank and Gaza into Jordan and Egypt and then claim those territories as their own, which incidentally happens to be against the UN resolutions and against international law, forcefully relocating people and taking their territory. Let's also be clear that where did these Palestinians come from? All the Palestinians living in West Bank and Gaza are the people who were actually evicted from their villages and towns in 1940s and force-marched in some cases to these areas. So if we are going to relocate them, they have the right to return to those 500 villages that were evicted and that have been historically erased and replaced by Jewish settlements and Jewish towns. This is a historical fact. You can read Ilan Pape's book on it, and other research on it is also available. So going into Mr. Trump's claim or assertion that the 2-point-some million Palestinians should be removed from Gaza and redisplaced into neighboring Arab countries, and then the territory should be given to United States to develop into, an ideal community. This was the idea floated by his son-in-law during his first term. But what it does is it puts the power of United States behind the ultimate fantasy of the Israeli right wing, right? Not necessarily all the Israelis, but it is ethnic cleansing. And ethnic cleansing, last I checked, in all international laws is illegal, right, and against human rights laws if any nation wants to follow it. So just the mere assertion by the US president to support ethnic cleansing of 2.5 million Palestinians, first from Gaza and eventually, I think, following it into West Bank, in itself is a transgressive statement, and it goes against all the history of the conflict itself, but against all the conventions of human rights regime as it exists in this world right now, including the UN Charter. Will it come to pass? I'm not sure, but it's a huge threat to the very existence of Palestinian people. Now, of course, there has to be a united response from the Muslim world, from the Arab world. Now, I understand I'm an insignificant scholar, right? My words carry no weight, but I'm going to put it on record as far as I can think as to how the Muslim world should respond to it. Obviously, they can't take it lightly. In my humble opinion, there needs to be a united condemnation, not just statements from a government here and a government there, but rather the Muslim world and its leaders must call a meeting of their heads of state, discuss this problem, and then must issue a united statement against it. This meeting must also include the two powerhouses of the Muslim world, Saudi Arabia and Iran. I think this is the time that the Saudis and Iranians can take to normalize their relationships so that no matter who is Shia and Sunni, when it comes to the rights of the Palestinian people, the Muslim world is united. Egypt, Jordan, Lebanon, and Syria, which are the neighboring countries, which will be targeted and pressured to house the displaced Palestinians, need to take a firm stand. Now, we know Egypt is fragile, right? It depends on American support. So does Jordan. So obviously, Mr. Trump has the power to say, I'm not going to give you aid. That is where a united Muslim front comes in. If Saudis, Iranians, and rest of the Muslim countries pool together their resources and create a fund, it can ensure that these countries cannot be economically coerced to do the illegal bidding of United States and State of Israel. That would be a pragmatic step, not just an emotional response. In terms of Muslims who live all over the world and are opposed to this view of Mr. Trump, there are simple things that you can do, right? Stop buying American products. Announce it to every single person that if America does that, you will not purchase anything remotely related to America. Your governments don't even have to do this. You can take the initiative. You can launch a protest movement in your country, and I'm pretty sure people of your country will support you. Overall, I mean, if we look at the moral and legal implications of what Mr. Trump has said, basically, he's a tool, right? He is voicing the opinions of the right-wing Israeli sources. What it implies is that a superpower, with the might of its economy and military behind it, and its chief spokesperson, its commander-in-chief, can declare that he can lift 2 million people who were already evicted from their legal rights and from their abodes and houses, and then transplant them elsewhere as refugees to solve a problem, thus foregoing 70 years of diplomatic work, the Oslo Accords, right, where it was decided that the solution to the regional problem is a two-state solution, where it was decided that East Jerusalem, West Bank, and the Gaza Strip will form the future state of Palestine, where it was also decided and is recognized by United Nations and so many other nations of the world that Palestine is a state, right? So this blatant attack on the very existence of the Palestinian people, I mean, it's tragic, it's sad, but I think if the Muslim world comes together, if the people of the Muslim world come together and then work in solidarity with people in the West, people in the United States, people in the state of Israel, to offer a united front with pragmatic steps, I think as the people of this world, we can help stop what is likely to be one of the gravest injustices of our time if it comes to pass. And let me also highlight here that in the history of the world, anyone or any nation that has tried to supplant a people, erase them, history does not remember them kindly. And United States, of course, is an example of settler colonialism, right? By wiping out the native population. That's how United States came to be. State of Israel, same thing, right? wiping out and erasing the inhabitants of Palestine and to capturing their territory. We have learned to live with that. Most Muslim nations on this planet concede the State of Israel's right to exist. It's no longer the 1950s and 60s where the neighboring Arab states did not want to accept the State of Israel. Post 1970s, Egypt, Jordan, and all the other neighbor countries have already agreed to that as long as there is a promise of a two-state solution, they openly accept the Israeli right to exist, right? Not that Israel needs that. They are there, and they are the most powerful military in the region with the most powerful power in the world behind their back. But symbolically, that has already been accepted. So overall, it's a sad state of affairs coming from the President of the United States. But let's not lose hope. The Palestinians have suffered worst for 7 to 8 decades. They have sustained destruction multiple times. We just need to stay with them and lend them our support. And we just need to condemn such silly ideas, may they come from the Israeli right wing or the President of the United States. And if you're an American watching this, raise your voice, speak against injustice. Because otherwise, why are we here in this world? That's all I have to say. Thank you so much. Stay safe, take care, and as always, peace and love.